And we're live again. Sorry about that, guys. My mistake. I did want to speak with Caleb. Are you there, Caleb?
Yep, I'm here.
Okay, so tell me about your story. I've heard some things about that, guys.
Uh-huh.
My mistake. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so Friday morning last week, I wake up and my dad walks into the room with my phone, and he says, "Caleb, we've been looking at your phone and we're seeing some stuff that doesn't make us very happy." So I'm like, "Oh shit!" At this point. So then he pulls up like your channel, and then he pulls up like some pictures of the John Cedars channel.
Oh,
Then
shit.
I'm like, "Oh fuck."
So what
So
happened? Yeah, tell me
after
about it.
that, yeah, so after that, he says your mom's gonna have a talk with you after school. And I'm like, oh god. So the whole day during school, I don't want to go home. So when I get home, I actually go and spend the night with my cousins, so that way I can avoid the conversation for as long as possible.
Sure.
And when I get home on Monday was Memorial Day, so that's when she actually finally had the conversation with me. And she also brought the elders over to
Oh God.
our home, and they talked about it as well. So that's always wonderful.
Right, because you're currently baptized. Is that right? As Jehovah's Witness?
Yeah, I'm baptized.
Okay, so how long have you been baptized? Like, when did you get baptized? How old were you?
I was baptized 2014, so it's 2018.
So 4 years.
I believe I was around 10, 11.
Okay, all right, 10 or 11. So now you're like 15, basically, right?
I'm 14 right now.
14. Okay. So you get baptized at like 10 or 11. That's really young.
Yeah.
I've heard people
I know
getting
my cousin.
baptized
She
at
was
like
baptized at.
7. Go ahead.
I know my cousin was baptized at 9. So,
God, that's so
yeah.
young. Seriously. If you can't get married at that age, then why do people think that a life decision that's going to affect your life to the same degree, if not even more, why do they think that that'd be okay? But anyway, I'm digressing. Sorry. So, yeah. So your parents find this stuff on your phone, John Cedars channel
Yes.
and things like that. So what happens from there? You went to your cousin's house, you said, to avoid the
Oh yeah, I
conversation?
went to my cousin's house. I spent the night.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry if the audio isn't too good. I'm literally outside right now, with my phone. So I mean,
No, it sounds fine to me. So you're good.
yeah, it's all right. I mean, if I have to mute every now and then, it's just because my cousins are coming near me. So
No problem. Don't worry too much about it. I'll fill space with something. But anyways, so you go over to your cousin's house, and have you gone back yet? Like, have you gone back to your parents' house since then, or? I think he muted. I think he had to mute.
oh wait, sorry, no, yeah, I'm unmuted now.
Oh, okay. So have you gone
Okay,
back to your
so
parents? Have you had that conversation with them yet?
no, yeah, I've had that conversation with. That was so my mom. She talks to me and she says, well, sure, I hope so. Sorry, that's my.
No problem.
My mom comes to me and she says, Caleb, I'm very disappointed with you. I'm shaking, trying not to cry,
Right.
and she doesn't get too far into the conversation. She just says stuff that this is very serious, and then after that, a couple seconds later, the elders knock on the door. They let him in, and I think that's just kind of when, because I didn't know that she was calling the elders over. I didn't know that at that point.
Right.
So when I see them walk into the door, I'm like dead. So
So they walked
it was,
into the room. The elders came over to talk to you, huh? How many? 3 or 2?
2.
Okay, so they're just investigating.
Yeah, I think my mom called them over for this.
Okay.
So
Jeez.
yeah.
So, but for reference with that, as far as I understand it, if 2 elders come over to talk to you. They're investigating to see if there's been like a crime committed or a sin committed or something, right? Not a
Yeah,
crime, a
yeah,
sin.
yeah.
And if it's 3, then they know that a sin's been committed and they're about to disfellowship, or they're deciding whether or not to disfellowship.
Yeah, I don't know too much about that. I mean, my dad's an elder, but he hasn't really told me too much about like all that. But
Okay,
you'd
that's
probably know more than I do.
yeah, that's generally how it works. So only 2 came over with you, so they're just kind of
Yeah,
investigating to see if you
yeah,
did something wrong. So what were like the charges or whatever? What did they claim that you did? Was it just looking at apostate material, I guess?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So I guess they probably determined that that wasn't serious enough to warrant any kind of
Disfellowshipping or anything, right?
disfellowshipping. I don't think like I guess they weren't they decided that, but I mean,
Right. That is so
so
crazy. So how long ago was the meeting with the elders like that? Was it recent
that
or
was last week. That was a Monday
okay.
last week.
So what's happened since then? Like have they brought it up or anything since then? Are you with me? Did I lose you?
Wait, so I'm here.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah,
So
so like
what is it?
oh yeah, so like now my mom like she just keeps my phone whenever I come home from
Mm,
school, and
man.
like she monitors me very closely. Like I think she'll like I'll be sitting in my room and like she'll maybe come in like 5 times in the span of like maybe 7 minutes,
Jesus.
and yeah, and like like they don't really trust me anymore because I've committed the crime so heinous of listening to opinions of other people. So I mean,
That is insane. Like I obviously this is absolutely ridiculous, but what would a normal family do? I mean, you got to think about how a normal family would react to some to their kid looking at like extremist information or something. Is this how the family would handle it? Any normal
yeah,
family?
this is probably how a normal family would react to like if I was looking at like Nazi videos, you know?
Right? That's what I was wondering. It's just so crazy. So how have things been going? Like how like has it been rough? How did you manage to get on Discord tonight?
Well, my mom she let me have my phone back, and she said I'll give you another chance to earn back my trust.
Okay.
So I'm obviously not doing that now by being on this XJW server, but hey, I
Yeah.
don't care.
You don't
But she
like
doesn't know, so
it's ridiculous that you have to
yeah, very, very.
hide this whole thing. It's just ridiculous. It makes me sick. So
Yeah,
so things have been going okay then basically, right? I mean, letting you earn back your trust, quote unquote, and things like that.
yeah, yeah.
One day at a
Like,
time. That sounds rough.
yeah. I mean, it's just gonna wait it out until I can eventually leave when I'm older. Because I mean, like my mom's like the kind of Jehovah's Witness. Like she, she lets me because you know there are some Jehovah's Witnesses who don't like let you let their kids play like Pokemon and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, sure.
You know, like my mom she lets me play Pokemon, but like she's very selective with what she does and doesn't want me to do. Like when it comes to like video games, she's pretty lenient with that, but when it comes to like anything involving like YouTube or video, she's very strict on that. She's been
Hmm.
very strict before this whole incident.
It's interesting. I wonder why. Like, I wonder why she's more open about things like Pokemon. My parents were actually pretty open about Pokemon too.
Mm.
But yeah, they're like my entire congregation when I was younger. They all played Pokemon, and my parents couldn't very well say, "Oh, you can't play it," even though they are. They weren't even really the super righteous Jehovah's Witnesses. My parents weren't. You know, they were.
Mm.
I mean, you said your dad's an elder, right?
Yeah, and it's typically expected that the elders' families are like out in service every week
Oh
at
yeah,
every meetings. You know.
yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So my dad wasn't like that. Not my family wasn't like that at all. So yeah, that's pretty interesting that they let you play Pokemon and stuff. Do others in the congregation also play Pokemon? I think it's congregation based mostly.
Yeah. well, like I'm here on like the west coast of the U.S., so I think that
Okay.
might also have something to do with it. Like maybe, but I mean, yeah, I mean, most people in my congregation play Pokemon. Like I have a really good friend. He actually has a YouTube channel, surprisingly,
Okay.
and yeah. So
Like by the time I ended up getting out of the religion, YouTube didn't even exist yet. Well, I think
uh,
it existed, but like nobody really knew about
it
it.
it wasn't a big thing.
Yeah. And so I don't even really know how Jehovah's Witnesses react to YouTube. They're pretty strict about YouTube usually.
My parents are, I think, just because of like this apostate stuff. But I mean,
Yeah,
but yeah, I think it varies from parent to parent because like
sure.
some parents like my friend like they let him have a YouTube channel, but mine like they monitor very heavily. So
Right. That yeah,
yeah,
that is pretty surprising actually that they let him have a channel. How old is he?
he's a year younger than me. He's
Okay.
13. But
Wow.
I mean, to be fair, all he does is play Minecraft videos. But I mean, like
Right. But still,
yeah,
yeah, that's pretty interesting.
yeah.
Well, anyway, I appreciate you coming on and talking to me. That's a really interesting story. Keep us updated on the whole situation, okay?
Oh yeah, yeah. Thank you for yeah, like having me on here. That's I've never done anything like this, so
Yeah,
it's kind
sure.
of exciting for me.
Yeah, no problem. All right, well, I'll talk to you later then.
Okay, yeah, you too.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. See, the thing with me is this is an interesting little piece of information about my life, but um, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of gaslighting before, but it's basically where you try to convince somebody. So it came from like some old film from like the 30s or something. It was this guy who was trying to like convince this woman of something that she knew to be false. So he kept saying like things like I'm not wearing a sweater right now when he was clearly obviously wearing a sweater and things like that. And he would just dig in and refuse to give up. Like he's saying I'm not wearing a sweater right now. I'm not. You're mistaken. And eventually somebody ended up talking to the woman in the film and she said, "Are those gaslights flickering?" And the person said yes, they are, thus affirming her like her reality and showing that what she is seeing is accurate. So people will gaslight and they'll just say no, no, that's not true when it very obviously is true. And it breaks you down and it makes you more willing to believe basically anything they say. It's a psychological technique, and you see it with cults a lot. And so my mom had been gaslit so many times throughout her life by my dad and other people that it went by the time I came along, she was willing to believe literally just anything that I said. Absolutely anything. Even against just the strongest evidence. And that led to her saying things like, okay, I'll give you another chance. I believe you. I'll give you another chance, with various things like the religion or whatever else. But it's a very interesting psychological situation. I was in my late teens by that point. But anyway. Okay, next person I was going to speak with was Ophire. You there, Ophire?
Yeah, hi.
I keep thinking I'm pronouncing your name wrong. I keep thinking like
No,
maybe he
you're good.
calls it Ophire or something. I don't know.
No,
Yeah, it's Ophire.
you got it. Yeah.
Okay, okay. So what's going on?
Not much. I'm actually waiting for someone to respond in timeout, but
Oh,
yeah,
interesting. Okay, I'm eating eggs. They're
I'm good at.
so good. God, I was mixing up what you said with what I said. Eggs are so
No
good.
problem. Oh yeah, those soft-boiled eggs, huh?
Yeah, these are scrambled that I'm eating now.
Oh really? I love scrambled eggs.
Yeah, me too. I would just freaking just kill a man for scrambled eggs.
Yeah,
Not really, YouTube. Don't demonetize.
yeah. No, no, adpocalypse, please.
Right? I
Yep.
usually like the so YouTube has this demonetization AI that goes around and checks every video that's uploaded and demonetizes it or whatever.
That algorithm.
Yeah, and so basically, so many of my videos have been demonetized and then manual reviewed and then remonetized that it doesn't even really demonetize my videos anymore when I upload a new one. So I was pretty happy about that until this one today, the Westboro Baptist Church one.
Yeah.
It was demonetized immediately because
wow.
Probably because
even
of
after
trick. It's probably because I said the word fag so many times that it,
and the pictures.
Yeah.
Yeah, I figured it might be striked for that.
Yeah, but
even though the context kind of made it.
Yeah.
They don't really check for that.
No, they don't. But I don't know. I'm hoping after manual review they'll remonetize. Either way, it's not that big of a deal. The rest of them are monetized. And not supposed to talk about money. It's like a legal thing. But I think just glancing at the numbers, I think I've lost somewhere between $15 and $20 from when I released the video to now. Somewhere in there. But no big deal. It's fine.
And they don't reimburse or anything because of that.
No.
Yeah.
The message is what's important. So yeah,
we did hit 3K because of it. Right. Well, not because of the demonetization, but
because of the video. Yeah, there are plenty of other good things about the video, so it's really not that big of a deal. I'll be okay. But
I'll continue to enjoy the video either way.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I appreciate you coming on. Was there any kind of interesting story you want to tell or anything like that? Anything you want to talk about?
I can't think of anything right now, but
I'm going to put you on the spot. You have to come up with something right now at this moment.
All right.
Come up with something.
Okay.
I'm just messing with you. All right. That's cool. Well, I appreciate you coming on, and we will talk to you next time, okay?
Okay.
Silence. Who was next? It was wait. Oh, okay. Wait a minute. I'm looking for this one person. Yep, okay. Next person was Andrian Timeswift. Is that how you say it?
Yeah, you got it.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, going pretty good.
Good. So you've been on the list for a little while, right? We've been trying to get you on here.
Yeah, 2 or 3 weeks.
So what's we haven't talked before, have we?
We talked actually before, not in voice, but we did talk before. Right. Back even before the server was a thing. I contacted you on Facebook.
Did you really? Before the server? That was...
Yeah. After your Adventists video, because I'm an ex-Adventist.
Oh, is that you? Okay, I remember.
Yeah, that's me.
Oh, that's awesome. So, of course, I remember, but for the people watching, they have no idea what we're talking about. So I'm just going to ask you some questions so we can kind of get a baseline thing here.
Yeah.
So you came from Seventh-day Adventists, right?
Yeah. Both my parents are Seventh-day Adventists. My mom's parents converted from, I don't remember what the church was, maybe Methodists.
Okay.
And both my dad and grandfather, and my dad and his father, are my dad's a current pastor. My grandfather is a retired pastor in the Seventh-day Adventist Church, and my great grandfather was also Seventh-day Adventist along that line. So
very interesting. So you've got basically a family line of Seventh-day Adventist pastors and stuff.
Yeah. I was baptized by my grandfather at the age of 15 after preaching, I think, my second sermon.
Wow, man, that's crazy. So you've been in this for a really long time. How old are you now?
I'm 28 now.
That's pretty amazing. When did you get out? How old were you when you got out?
Well, it's hard to say exactly. My deconversion process was a little slow, but I count 2012 as my deconversion year. I couldn't put a date on it exactly, but that was the point where I had gotten to the point where I was so agnostic that I was willing to put that as my religion for like medical records and stuff.
Okay, wow.
So yeah.
So let's see. You're 28 now. That was 2012, you said. So
Yeah,
what
so
was
I've been
that?
out for 6 years.
Okay, that's good. Not too bad. You're about 22 then, right, or so?
Yeah.
Good. Well, I'm glad you're on the outside. So how did your family take it? Like when you revealed that?
Well, various shades.
Okay.
My dad took it very well, actually, which kind of surprised me. My grandparents also took it well. It hurt them, and they were definitely not happy about it. But they made it clear to me that they loved me no matter what,
Sure.
and that they were going to be there to support me, and that they still wanted to see me and all of that. My mom was a different story. We had a big fight about it when she found out, and she said that I was demon possessed, that she should have aborted
God,
me.
Here we go. Wow, man, really?
Yeah.
God, that's crazy.
Now, I don't remember who it was that said this, but basically, insanity is reasoning from false premises.
Okay.
And that's basically what's going on here. In my mother's mind, children who die, fetuses who are aborted, or stillborn babies, that kind of thing, they go to heaven automatically.
I see.
And I was born out of wedlock, which is a thing that's actually there's a lot of things that make it interesting that my dad is a pastor, because not only is my dad a pastor, but he's also divorced and remarried.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Which Matthew specifically speaks out against.
Sure. Yeah, definitely. That's a big no-no, I guess, right?
Yeah, but apparently not so big a no-no that he couldn't be an ordained pastor.
I assume they knew about that and still let him be a pastor then.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, that's not so bad then, I guess, that he.
Yeah. They knew about that and they ordained him. So yeah.
That's
but
surprising.
anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was that's that story in a nutshell. Anyway, yeah.
That's very interesting. Yeah. So she treated you pretty poorly on your way out then, right?
Yeah, definitely. Though she has still supported me. She's helped me. I've been going through some mental illness stuff.
Okay.
That's forced me to move back with her a few times.
Okay.
And she's great at taking care of my physical needs. Let's put it that way.
Good. Okay. Well, at least she's like still talking to you and helping out a little bit and things, right?
Yeah. There's been no shunning from my family, really.
Oh, good. Okay. There were some harsh words from her originally then, I guess, and that was about the end of it.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this then. That considered, okay, so before I ask you this, I've actually kind of redone my method of determining if something is a cult. So I'm going to go back through some of my old determinations with this new method and see what I think. So what do you think? Do you think that it's a cult or no?
I would say that Seventh-day Adventism definitely has cult-like tendencies.
Okay.
I would say it's probably no more cult-like than any other fundamentalist group. With the exception of the Ellen White thing, which, though she's not a Joseph Smith, she's definitely up there in estimation.
Like a prophet kind of thing, or?
Yeah, she's a prophet. She is described as being the lesser light, pointing to the greater light of the Bible.
Oh, interesting. So she puts herself like on par with the Bible, or her writings on par with the Bible then.
Well, she personally said that they were supposed to be less.
Okay.
She was basically a prophet for the modern era to try and help interpret what the Bible meant for her day and age. Is what she said. Of course, she also did actual prophecies about where they should build certain buildings and I think she may have exposed some people who were quote unquote sinning, that kind
Okay.
of thing.
Right.
For me, the most interesting thing about Ellen White is that she, as a little girl, a teenager, I guess, she was hit in the head very hard with a rock that had been thrown by one of her classmates.
Right.
And she was laid up in bed for quite a while. And then during that period is when she started having her visions.
And so this is common knowledge in the church, right?
Oh yeah. This stuff is common knowledge. This is stuff that they teach to kids.
So it's interesting to me that they realized that this happened to her, and this is when she had the visions. I don't understand why they don't try to bury that. Like, that information is kind of damning, isn't it?
Well, they don't try to bury it, but they do try to argue against the idea that it was the result of some kind of brain trauma, that she was
Okay.
having her visions. And even though a lot of her symptoms do kind of look like some kind of epilepsy, though Adventist scholars have tried to argue that it isn't. Obviously, the point is moot because we can't examine her.
Sure.
Sure. And we're just going off of things, but like her feat of holding up the Bible for hours, or the thing where she would seem not to breathe. Those, and then she would wake up with visions. All of that sounds like some kind of seizure to me.
Right. Yeah, I've heard a lot about that too myself, actually. In fact, I think I talk about it in the video. It's been a really long time since I made that. But as far as I remember, she would not breathe, sometimes reported for hours not to breathe.
Yep.
Is that right? Things like that?
Yep, that's right. Supposedly they would hold up a mirror to her mouth and it wouldn't fog up, so they assume that she's not breathing. And
that's very
that
interesting. Kind of of course, doctors of that time period were nowhere near the caliber that we have today, and there are plenty of medical conditions that make it look like somebody's dead when they're not. In fact, I don't know if you heard about this, but have you ever heard the term dead ringer before?
I'm assuming that it's related to like Hell's Bells, which is basically where you would where people would think someone was dead and bury them, but they put a string to a bell down into the coffin in case they woke up.
Yes.
And,
yes.
Yeah.
That is it. Isn't that interesting? Like, it was such a common problem that they started putting a bell on people's fingers because they were finding like claw marks on the inside of coffins and stuff. How horrific, as a side note, right?
Yeah. How awful.
But there are like a bunch of different like medical conditions that make it like legitimately look like people are just dead. I mean, just although they're in hibernation, it's like they're in hibernation or something like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it could very well
like
have been something like that. So what do you think it was? Do you think it was just bad medical reporting at the time, or?
That's what I think it was. I think it was bad medical reporting at the time, combined with psychological conditioning for her to see things. You have
Sure.
sort of a near-death experience when your brain is low on oxygen because
Sure.
you're not breathing because you're having some kind of seizure, and then you wake up and you say, oh, I saw Jesus and he said this to me. I think some of it might also have just been, could very well have been her just sort of doing what any preacher that claims to have God's ear would do and say, oh, God says you shouldn't drink tea, a thing she said.
Right. I
And,
wonder why she didn't want people to drink tea. It's the same with the Mormons. Similar.
Yeah, the idea is that you're not supposed to put any kind of like intoxicating substance in your body, basically.
Okay.
Same
with Mormons then.
Yeah, it was a very common thing, and they came out of the same time period, but basically prohibition of anything fun was very popular when Adventism came to be.
So what about now? Like, do you drink or any of that stuff? Do you do anything fun now?
I don't drink. Part of that is because of my mental health. Part of that is just because, I've had an alcoholic stepfather.
Sure.
And I just don't. can't stand the smell of the stuff.
Sure. I don't drink either. I don't blame you. I mean, it was never forbidden, but
yeah, and I've never started coffee for the same reason. And also, why start an unhealthy habit when I've already when I'm already
made it
predisposed
this
not
long
to.
without it. Sure. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
with you.
The one thing that I have started doing is eating meat. Because
yeah.
Adventists encourage vegetarianism, but the only thing that they like enforce is not eating unclean meats, as defined in Leviticus 11.
So that's like any animal with like a cloven hoof or that chews cud, right?
Yeah, those are the clean animals.
Okay, so that would include, are cows clean? Pigs are not clean, right?
Yeah, pigs are not clean. They have a cloven hoof, and they don't chew cud. But cows would be clean because they chew cud and they have a split hoof.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, and there's other things. Fish with fins and scales. Basically, no birds of prey.
Okay.
Though in the Bible it actually lists specific birds.
Right.
But no like general principle, which is really interesting.
That is interesting. Yeah, and you know what else is interesting is the fact that the Bible actually lists rabbits, I believe, in there as
chewing cud.
Yes. Yep. So obviously it was incorrect. I guess that means it isn't the inspired word of God if it was incorrect like that. But on that note, are you religious now that you've left, or no?
No, I'm an atheist. I would consider myself an anti-theist. I suffered significant psychological harm as a result of my religion, and I see that happening in a lot of cases of people who are in religions, and so I'm very opposed to people being exposed to that.
I agree.
And so I would like to see religion die out. I am especially against childhood indoctrination into religion. I'm much more okay with it if you weren't raised in the religion but you come to it as an adult. That's an entirely different thing. But
definitely, I am with you there. So actually, on that note, I have another question for you. I have to move on in a second, but this is really interesting. So when you say anti-theist, do you mean you think that religion is harmful to society and you would like to see a world without religion?
Yeah.
Okay.
And of course that's kind of a utopian thing. Like I would like to see a world without murder.
Sure.
That kind of thing. I don't think that it's necessarily a realistic goal, but
reach
kind of
for it at least. Right.
Yeah, kind of in the same vein as the now old new atheists like Richard Dawkins and those kinds of people. So yeah.
Very interesting. Well, I appreciate you coming on and talking to me. That's pretty cool.
So, yeah, it's nice to talk to you, and maybe we'll get to do this again sometime.
Yeah. Add your name to the list again. Maybe we'll get you back on sometime soon.
Okay. All right. Awesome.
All right. I'll talk to you next time.
Yep. Bye.
Yeah, that is really interesting. Something that I noticed recently is that some of my fellow YouTubers, like Genetically Modified Skeptic and Holy Kool-Aid and people like that. Actually, you know what? I can't say Holy Kool-Aid for sure. Just take him out of that list I just made. Genetically Modified Skeptic and some others have been pushing this anti-theist thing. And yeah, I mean, I can totally get on board with that. I think that a world without religion would be better. But I don't want... If I could accomplish that goal through reason and not force, then I would do it. I would never, ever use force. Never. Like, I don't want somebody taking away my rights for what I want to do, and I can't take away somebody else's. So if we could do it through reason and evidence, then I would be so down with that. But we're going to have, like, a lot of work to do overturning this current conception of anti-theism, where it's like you want to just destroy religion completely in a violent or non-violent way. Doesn't matter. But anyways, Bane, are you there by chance?
Indeed, I am.
Do we have questions or no?
We do.
Okay.
All right. So to start us off, we have what would Scientology score on the bite model?
That's interesting. I don't really know. So let me just talk about that for a second. So the bite model is something that that Stephen Hassan came up with, but he didn't really form it out a whole lot, a little bit. And so I kind of took it and ran with it. And what I use in my videos the most are like these 35 questions, and they're semi-related to each other in different categories and things like that. So they're not the greatest questions. They could be better worded, but you'll usually find those things in a cult. So I've been using it up until now, but with the Westboro Baptist Church thing, I just felt like my measurement was inadequate. So at work, we do something, since I'm a software engineer, we do something called Agile Scrum. It's a method of project management. And when we're trying to estimate times for projects, we do this thing where everybody gets a hand of cards, basically 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, and 21 in each person's hand. And we all look at this task and we say, where do we think this scores in points? Not in hours, but in points. And we set how hard a 5-pointer would be, or how long it would take somebody. And so everybody puts down the number that they think it would be, and then we average those numbers together, and it's pretty accurate usually. So I decided to apply that to the bite model and get an actual point value for how cult-like they are. And that way it'll be all-encompassing. It will include their extremist behavior in other areas, and we can probably get a hard line as to whether or not they're really cult-like and really harmful. So I do want to go back down through the list, like Scientology, Jehovah's Witnesses, all of them, and do them this way, and see where they fall on that, because it'd be pretty interesting. I would say Scientology is probably pretty close to Westboro Baptist Church. Not like Westboro Baptist is really hateful. I mean, Zach Phelps Roper was one of the people who left, and he actually was saying, he has a subreddit where he was talking and answering questions, and he said the craziest thing they asked him to do was to pray for certain people to die. Lady Gaga, Barack Obama, and one other person. I don't remember who it was. But pray for somebody to die. That is extreme hate. Now, Scientologists don't have the same level of hatred necessarily, not in the same way, but they do other things that are equally as extreme in other categories. So I think they would score as high as Westboro Baptist Church members in other ways. So.
Okie dokie. And now we have the second question. I'm not sure whether or not you want to answer this one.
Okay.
Have you ever smoked the devil's lettuce?
Devil's lettuce. I assume that means marijuana cigarettes. Is that what we're talking about here? Marijuana cigarettes?
I can only assume.
Are we talking about cannabis? Yeah. I was definitely a pothead for like a really long time. This was years ago. This was probably when I was, how old was I? I was 18, 19, 20 probably is how old I was. And I smoked it all through that time. You can ask Crate. She was a little miffed about it at the time. But anyway, yeah, there's your answer.
Alrighty. The next question is, how would you feel about taking money from the church?
How would I feel about taking money from, like, Jehovah's Witnesses?
They say the church, so I imagine just churches in general.
Okay. I'm going to assume that what they mean is, like, working for them. Or, okay, so here's how I feel about... Oh, I'm getting a bunch of messages. Here's how I feel about working for them. I I don't think there's anything wrong with working for an extremist organization, necessarily. I mean, as long as you're not doing something that goes against your moral values, first of all. And second, you're going to want, I mean, you're in a position where you can get information and make sure that they're not doing something really bad or crazy. So I would say that would be an ideal situation. I would not be opposed to somebody working for a church as long as what they're doing isn't conflicting with their moral values specifically. And as far as donations go, I will never donate to a church, and I will not turn to a church first if I need help. But if the church is there and willing to help me, then I would take the help and then donate the money back when I got back on my feet for whatever it was I needed it for. But yeah, there's your answer.
Okay, next thing we have is, would you consider making a video about the movie Jesus Camp if you haven't already?
I haven't done a video about that, but that was a really interesting documentary. Oh, man, there are so many good documentaries. And I've been talking about doing this for a while, but I really want to write a list of like recommended documentaries that people should watch that are really interesting. Jesus Camp is a good one, and Going Clear is a good one too. Somebody mentioned that the other day or recently. There are a couple of others I really need to get the name of so I can suggest them. But yeah, I might make a video on it.
All right, and the last question for now is he aware that the Jehovah's Witnesses had rewritten their Bible to make it more simplified?
I am aware of that, actually. I have the new silver sword, as they call it. My mom was going to give me a new copy of it, like last time I saw her, probably a year and a half ago or something like that. She was going to give me her copy if I wanted it, you know, and then she realized that she's like, well, this dude doesn't, he just wants to use it to like pick it apart, so never mind, you can't have it anymore. So I ended up getting a copy, like my own copy from the congregation. But anyway, yeah, I did know about that. And one of my favorite verses that they changed is 2 Timothy 3:1-3. I just looked this up earlier today, and it basically says, in the end, you'll see things like men will be lovers of money and lovers of themselves, having no natural affection, so on and so forth. And I quoted that the other day because it's like shunning is the definition of no natural affection if I've ever seen it, right? I mean, that is a lack of natural affection. It is unnatural to not talk to your children like that. You have to fight that. And in the new edition of the Bible, it's gone. They took that out. They changed the words or something. I don't know, but it's not in there anymore. And I just found that so fascinating. But and as a side note, it is in other Bibles. No natural affection, those words, are in like the King James Bible and stuff. So that's actually what it translates to. It's just they didn't want that in their Bible anymore. So how many questions do we have, by the way?
We have 3 more, but I can ask them at the end.
Okay, that's fine. I like answering
You have
questions.
that Austrian dude next.
Right, that Austrian guy. That Austrian dude. I don't see him in the list. Are you there, that Austrian guy? Can you hear me?
Hello?
Hey, how's it going?
Good, good. Please excuse my voice if it's a little messed up recently.
No, it sounds fine to me. You're good. We have talked before, haven't we?
We have.
We
I
have,
think
right,
it was
okay.
2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago.
Right, I remember. So, how have things been going since we last talked? Anything interesting going on, or?
Not that much. Just getting ready for camp, getting over being sick for a little bit. That's why my voice was messed up.
Right.
And just pretty much getting ready for school to calm down, I guess.
Right, and how old are you? I forget.
I am 16.
Right, okay, so you're going to high school still.
I am.
Very good. Interesting. So how's school been going? Pretty well? Not too bad?
School's been going well. I'm happy with it.
Good.
I'm getting through it. We're ready for it to be done.
Yeah, I understand. I know plenty of people, but I know plenty of people who would also like for it to be done, but ultimately I kind of miss it a little bit, like going to school every day and seeing my friends and stuff. I guess it's the grass is always greener kind of situation, right?
I think it's different times have different challenges. I think
Yeah.
I'd probably say whenever I'm older, I'll have the same problem where I'll look back and be like, oh, I love being able to just not have to worry about anything during the summer and all.
Right. Yeah, summer is always nice. By the way, was there anything specific you wanted to talk about? Like, I didn't know if you wanted to address something specific or not, or just chit-chat for a bit.
I'm trying to think. I remember whenever I was younger, like 13 or 14, I found this really, really odd religion,
Right.
this weird religion-esque thing. And I don't remember the name of it. I've been searching and looking for it, but it had the weirdest philosophy about how Jesus was a sort of, no, was Jesus even part of it? I'm not 100% sure, but I've been searching and I found a page on there, something about past lives and how people have like 20 past lives, but you can't remember any of it and all that weird stuff. I've been trying to find it, but I can't.
Really? That's interesting. So 20 past lives. Now, let me think about this for a second. I'm just trying to see if maybe I know the name of it. So they have like a whole bunch of past lives, and
But you don't remember any of it.
that would be reincarnation. I would call that reincarnation. So it's probably some form of Eastern religion would be my guess, like Buddhism or certain denominations of Buddhism, I guess, would be more accurate. Please don't crucify me in the comments for that. So what were the other things about it?
Let's see. They had a bunch of stuff about how like yoga and how you can there's a bunch of star systems, and in the star systems there's, gods came from the different star systems and stuff. It was really small religion.
Very interesting. Gods come from star systems sounds
It might have been Ostara.
I don't know that I've heard of that one. Let me look. Do you know how to spell it?
Astara.
Okay, let's look.
Someone
look it up
said it
here.
in the comments.
Looking it up. Okay, maybe this would be it. Looking on
Maybe it looks kind of familiar.
the live stream here. That's interesting. So it's the namesake of the festival of Easter in some languages. Ostara, I guess. Oster is attested solely by Bede in his 8th century work, The Reckoning of Time. This may
I found their
actually...
website.
Oh, you did?
It's a church of all religions, a school of ancient wisdom, and a channel for the Aquarian age. Astra is a place of light for the person who seeks further spiritual knowledge and progression, a deeper understanding of the cosmic and immutable laws of a supreme being we call God.
Huh. I don't think I'm looking at the right thing. What's the website? Can you give me the URL?
It's www.astara.org.
Gotcha. Astara. Okay. Wow, this is like 1990s, 2000s kind of thing. Astara's YouTube channel. They've got a YouTube channel.
Wait,
okay.
They have a YouTube?
Right at the bottom. Let's see. Oh, don't play. Oh God, they played something. That's interesting. I should definitely take a look at this. Huh. Have you ever heard of, I may have mentioned this to you, but have you heard of Nimja, the YouTube channel Nimja? Nimja. Nimja Hypnosis.
Ninja Hypnosis.
Hello.
I'm looking at it now. I don't think I've ever seen it before.
Oh, yeah. It's like a hypnotism cult, basically.
Oh, that looks weird.
Yeah, I met a guy who was in it, and he's just convinced that it's a cult. Of course, I haven't analyzed it myself, but I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, the things that he told me are really, really bad.
Yeah, this This does not look. This looks kind of odd.
Yeah, well, this stuff looks odd, right? But apparently they have a website, and there's a paywall on this website, and it gets really odd behind the paywall. So,
Oh man.
yeah.
So they're forcing you to pay just to find all this weird stuff.
Yep, welcome to cults.
Yep.
It's crazy, man. I would like to like take a look at this one too, though. It looks pretty interesting, but
That's about all that I really found.
yeah, that's pretty interesting. I should really take a look at that stuff. I take a look in video suggestions usually before I do like any new videos, but I just got somebody to help me research this stuff recently, so
Oh, nice.
yeah, so I'll tell them like I want to do a video on like the Westboro Baptist Church or something, and then they will just do a whole bunch of research and send me this outline with just like a whole bunch of facts about them. And so now I can just look at the facts and then analyze them and talk about them a little bit. It's pretty useful, so I don't know, maybe I'll do that for some of these.
Yeah, it might be an interesting video of some sort.
Yeah, but anyway, well, I appreciate you coming on and talking to me. Maybe we'll talk again, okay?
I appreciate coming on.
Yep. Yeah, it's pretty interesting. There's a lot of material out there. Like, I think I have somewhere around 150 something videos out, and there is just no sign of slowing down. Like, there is, I don't even know how many cults there are. There are so freaking many of them. But anyway, the next person I was going to speak with, I'm pretty sure I know who it was. I'm just double checking to be sure. Okay. See, this is why I check, because I was wrong. Let's see, the next person I was going to speak with is going to be the Red Eagle. Hang on, let me find him in the list. Where is he? Where are you, the Red Eagle? T's. I got to know my alphabet. S. The
Hello?
Red Eagle. Hey, there you are. How's it going?
Hey, how are you?
Pretty good. So you've been on the list for a while, right? And we haven't been able to connect until recently. So tell me, like, what religion were you originally? Are you still religious, or?
I am a confirmed Catholic. I still am in the Catholic Church. I still believe in God and all that. But I've been watching your videos for a while, and I really enjoy your points on a lot of things. I think you're doing a good thing by calling out the kind of toxic aspects of Jehovah's Witness and other cults and stuff like that. I was actually just watching your Westboro Baptist Church video today, and I thought it was really interesting. You had a lot of good points there.
Well, I appreciate that. That is awesome. I assume you saw my stuff on Catholicism.
Yeah. To be honest with you, like,
let's have the honesty. Throw it at me. Just be brutal here.
It's just that the church I grew up in and in my family, they were never like extreme the way you were kind of making Catholicism seem. But here's the thing. I don't know if things are different in other countries or other parts of the US, and maybe there are some like aggressive Catholics out there.
Sure.
I don't know what the story is.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah, that's the thing. The real crux of the issue is the fact that there are it varies so wildly from church to church. And so it's genuinely hard to just call Catholicism as a whole a cult because it's so diverse. But there are a lot of pretty extreme like churches out there, specific churches who do some pretty terrible stuff, of course, which you find in most places. But
sure. And look, if there are Catholic churches out there that are doing stuff they shouldn't be doing or hurting people, then yeah, obviously that's something I think we as humans should all be calling out regardless of what we believe.
So let me ask you this then. Jehovah's Witnesses have had a real issue with like pedophilia and child abuse and things like that. Like, how did you react to the whole situation with the Catholic Church? Did you continue to, like, did you say anything to anybody? How do you feel about it?
Look, the truth is, I was really too young to like know what was going on when that was in the news. I mean, I'm
Right.
only 16 years old. I'm going to be
Okay.
17 this Saturday, but
Interesting.
like I don't know much about the situation. Like I said, there obviously was stuff going on that shouldn't have been going on. So I think we could all like stand together and call that out.
Right. Interesting. Okay. See, a lot of like, here's the thing: for a lot of people, religion provides like a sense of community and a sense of purpose, you know, and it can be a constructive, helpful, good thing for a lot of people. And it sounds like that's what it is for you, right?
Not necessarily, not 100% of
Really?
the time.
Okay, so tell me about that.
Well, look, I'm gay, right?
Okay.
And it was actually this time a year ago, I was going through kind of like a personal like questioning, and I don't want to say crisis, but it wasn't like a fun situation to be in.
Sure.
Where I was kind of like, you know, trying to figure out how can, you know, my Christianity and my sexuality be like reconciled. And I
Yeah,
was
definitely.
reading all these different websites on the internet and hearing all these different arguments from different groups of people that believed different things.
Right.
I have accepted myself. I've kind of come to terms with everything. Now, you know, when the whole thing was going down, I was kind of like stressed and upset and kind of lost. Like I didn't think about religion or myself. But at the end of the day, I think like looking back, it had some good effects because like I ended up learning about like what different people believe.
Right.
I think I actually discovered your channel while I was searching through the internet, and I think your Jehovah's Witness video on the like cartoon they made to teach children about like gay marriage or something like that. I think that's the first video of yours that I saw, and then I started watching your channel, and I'm like, oh, this is kind of interesting.
That's awesome. I'm glad you ended up finding my channel. That's really great. And just for a side note here, that video ended up getting taken down by YouTube. It was stricken with hate speech.
I felt so bad when I saw that.
Yeah, it kind of sucks, but anyway, that's really interesting. So how long ago was all this? Like, how long ago did all that go down? Like, fairly recently, or?
Well, there were different kind of stages to it. Like, I think the first time the whole thing was ever brought to my attention was probably like freshman year of high school. I was exposed to some ideas that started making me think. And then a lot of it just kind of like, I just got busy with other things and I didn't really think about it. But then Trump got elected in November of 2016. And there were all these different news articles about Mike Pence and different advisors of Trump that were supposedly had homophobic views. And I just started looking into it again. Like, is this okay? You know, what does the Bible say about this? And that's sort of how it started. And then it was like a rabbit hole of internet article after internet article after essay after essay. And then just like Christmas of 2016 was like, this was all I was doing. Like, it was just eating up my time. It was eating me up inside too, because it's like you're questioning whether your own like feelings and like a big component, not that big of a component, but a significant component of who you are is like making God unhappy, basically.
Yeah. So do you still think that that's the case, or?
Well, it's interesting because after Christmas of 2016, I guess I got busy with other things again, and I was thinking about it less. But then fast forward to June of 2017, and Pride Month was happening, and you know how there's always Christians who are complaining about that.
Yep.
So then I kind of got thrown into that loop again of just reading all these different things and getting all these different points of views. And then summer of 2017, that's when I think I just kind of was like, you know what, this is okay. Like, I don't think I'm gonna be going to hell for this.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, I would
And
agree with you. I don't think so either. Of course, I don't believe in hell, but even if I did, I really don't. I mean, God created you the way you are, as far as I can tell. I wouldn't think that he would send any of his creations to hell for that, right? I mean, something out of their control completely like that?
You know, that I guess that was part of the conclusion I came to. I just, I felt okay. Like I didn't think it was a problem, and I wasn't fighting with myself over this. And truth is, I felt a lot better after that whole conflict was over.
That's good.
So
I'm glad to hear that. I mean, I'm glad to hear that you seem to be doing pretty well and you've come to terms with it and everything, because it really sucks living like that, you know?
It definitely was fun. No.
Yeah.
But I'm all right now. I accept myself as gay and everything. So
Good. That's good to hear. Well, I appreciate you coming on, and
thanks for having me on.
Yeah, maybe we can have you again if you want to submit your name again. Maybe we can chit chat one more time. It's up to you. So.
Sure. Yeah.
All right, I'll talk to you later on then. Okay.
All right. Have a good night.
Yeah, you too. Yeah, that's pretty interesting. I guess I can count myself lucky for not having to go through that kind of situation, because that really sucks. And actually, we are basically out of time. How many questions we got, Bane?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 of them.
Okay, I'll take 2. Pick out the best 2, or go in chronological order. You can go in chronological order if you want.
Okay, alright, we're gonna miss out on some questions then. Do you have any recommendations to instill skepticism in children being indoctrinated without use of outside sources, i.e. websites, scientific papers, etc., as a person who is still inside?
So the question is, do I have any way to help kids escape indoctrination? Was that the question?
Recommendations for, obviously, someone who's already inside to help instill skepticism in the children that are in the religion.
Okay. I would just, I think I've talked about this once before. I would say the main thing would be to just teach critical thinking skills. I mean, that's kind of a non-confrontational like thing that basically anybody can teach to anybody, because what parent doesn't want their kid to learn critical thinking skills? Now, there are cults out there that would balk at that idea, but generally you can probably get away with that. So try teaching critical thinking skills and teach them about questioning things and things like that. That would be a good way. Okay, lightning round. Go ahead, number 2.
It's the biggest one. Okay, how should we, as the awoken and non-believing, react, or what do we do when speaking to someone we identify as someone being under indoctrination or otherwise blindly faithful in a cult? Should we try to wake them? Should we leave them? Should we support them?
That's a tough question. It depends, because in some cases I will, for example, I'll be talking to somebody and kind of prepared to convince them out of their religion. And then they'll say something to me like, well, my mother died and that's why I believe in it, because, it gives me comfort, blah, blah, blah. I pretty much stop the conversation there. If it's a comfort to them and if they need it, I don't want to force them to face the fact that their mom is dead. Though they are living in denial, that it's not my place to upend that. It's a therapist's place to upend that at best. So I'll just leave it be. So you don't have to go into the whole conversation prepared to just tear their life apart in the service of truth. Use some tact in the whole thing. All right, number 3.
Are you on another one?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, what does he think of Essos? Oh god, I can't even pronounce that.
Spell it.
It's about programming languages, and basically, what do you think of brain fuck?
Is that a language?
I assume so.
Well, there you go. I don't know anything about it. I don't think I've heard of it. So,
I have no idea.
Yeah, okay.
That is a programming language that was designed to mess with people.
Wait, is it the one where you can only type 3 characters or something?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
it sucks.
God.
It's a It's a mental exercise, but I don't think anything of value is gained from it, except for the ability to say, "Oh, look what I did." So yeah, it's cool, but I'm good. Okay, next one.
Do you want the next one?
Yeah.
I'm only getting through them all. Okay, how do you deal with a parental figure trying to push a religion on you every time you speak to them?
How do I feel about that? It sucks, but I always go back to community. Like, that is the number one thing. It's so important to have community. Just have somewhere to go, somebody to talk to when that kind of thing happens, because I know it's not fun. So, all right. What is that, 4?
Uh-huh.
What's 5?
The last one is, have you ever been in a toxic relationship, and how would you define a toxic relationship?
That's a tough question. I've been in a few. Yeah, they have been toxic in the past. I don't know. I'd have to give that some thought. I would have to think about that. That's a tough question to answer right on the spot there. But I'll tell you what, I'll think about that, and then I'll come back to it like next week or something. So, anyway. All right, I appreciate you guys coming on and talking to me, and I'll see you next week.